Wanna talk? So let's talk. Here. Talk. You wanna talk? You gotta talk, you need to talk. News talk.
I talk, you talk to Solomon. I talk, you talk to Solomon. Yeah, let's talk to Solomon. Talk to Solomon.
You gotta talk, you wanna
Welcome back to Talk to Solomon. That's me, Stan Solomon. My co-host is Dave Weinbaum, writer for Jewish World Review, entrepreneur, and all-around good guy. Dave, we're waiting for Alan Keyes to join us, so in the interim, I'd like to start the discussion with the expose, if you will, that the only person buying the United States debt is the Fed. They have gone from buying about 40% of our debt to buying 90% of it. Right now, they own 452, the amount they bought has gone up by 452 times. So that for all practical purposes, we're not really borrowing from China, we're monetizing, we're just printing money to buy our own debt because no one else seems to want it. Your thoughts?
Well, before I answer that, I'd like to thank all the people that I contacted on Facebook and Twitter, and there are a whole bunch of them that RT'd me, and hopefully we have a lot of those visiting the Stan Solomon Show. And despite the fact that I make a nasty crack or two about Stan's hair and his age, I kind of like Stan, and hopefully he likes me. Anyways, I should answer the question now, which is us monetizing our own debt. No, it's bad, and it goes to the what we were talking about in the economy, and what the general's mom told him is you can't spend more than you've got, and if you borrow it, you got to pay it back. We're nowhere near paying back even the interest that we borrowed to China and to ourselves, and we're making this country a much more precarious place, much more dangerous in terms of our national security, and much worse for our children and grandchildren.
The reality is that's exactly what Greece did. That's exactly what Spain did. That's exactly what Italy did. It's exactly what Ireland and Portugal did. It's what Mexico did. And what happens, you reach a point where the money is, quote unquote, devalued. Now, inflation devalues money, but then and Bob Chapman, who just passed away, a wonderful man, an economist, used to say that he expected that everyone in America would wake up one day and there would be an announcement, a somber announcement by whomever, the Fed, the president, or some combination that would say, you thought you had $100,000 in the bank, now you have $33,000. Everything has been cut by 2/3. There is no other way to make it work.
Yeah, and then we become the Wehrmacht in Germany before, I believe it was World War II, after World War I, and it's a total disaster. You've got you're taking $500 bills to buy a loaf of bread. It's a collapse of our society, and a vacuum will be put in for a tyranny to take over us, take over the government, and we have to get people who are not conducive to that sort of thing. And right now we have people that are conducive to that kind of disaster, and it's slowly, not so slowly, happening to us right now.
The Fed, when President Obama came in, owned $300 billion of our debt. Now they own $1.366 trillion. You know, the obvious, not only do we owe more, but the reality is that it's being bought with air, with created money. And it's just because our economy is so bad, because we have 16% or 17% or 18% unemployment, because there's so little buying power, we're not seeing inflation. But if the economy starts to turn, inflation is going to go crazy. It's just going to go, it's going to skyrocket. And that will hurt, of course, the least of us the most. The most cruel tax is always inflation. People that are on fixed incomes from Social Security or whatever they are, pensions, when the cost of everything doubles, their buying power is cut in half. That's really what it comes down to. Where they used to be able to pay their rent and buy their food and have some money left over for clothes, now they have to pick between rent and food and go naked. I mean, being a little extreme, but that's what we're talking about if you get hyperinflation. Would you agree, Dave?
Stan, it's happening right now. We do have inflation. You know, I'm in the restaurant business, and I've seen our costs go up dramatically. And you know, a lot of people are on that fixed income, and they can't afford the prices they need to charge to make a profit, so they stop coming in. It's happening in this country. I was just up in St. Louis. I live an hour and a half outside of St. Louis, but I was up there and used to live there, and noticed going through various neighborhoods the total depreciation of those whole shopping centers shut down, and then the strip centers that were surrounding these areas that were around the shopping center, which were vital, which were working. You know, about 70% of the stores were closed in those strip malls. We need and this is happening. I believe I've witnessed this in Chicago and L.A. This is happening all over this country, and for Barack Obama to stand up there and say, "Oh, the private sector, well, they're just fine. We gotta hire a bunch of public servants, school teachers and firemen." I truly believe he believes that, which is more incredible that people think he's actually smart. He doesn't get it. He does not get what's going on, and it's time for the American people. It can't happen too fast to get this guy out of office and to get somebody responsible who has a clue. And I don't care what you think of Romney. He's the guy, and he's the guy that can turn it around and show him that he can do things and understands the private sector and its relationship to government. So,
you know, your point's well made, and I would point to Governor Scott Walker in Wisconsin, who, pardon me for using Eric Holder's statement, but who stuck to his principles, his guns, if you will, and said, I am going to cut our costs by taking more from public sector people. We're going to eliminate the ability of these people to put us in a position where it's a lose-lose. And the result was no one got laid off. The state went from a deficit to a positive, a budget overage. And half of the people that belong to these unions, given the opportunity, left the unions. And then they had the big recall. He won by 9 points, which is an incredible landslide in a quote-unquote union state, Wisconsin, where collective bargaining got its actual start. And I think that if Romney can learn from Governor Walker, who might not be a bad VP nominee, if he can learn from Governor Walker that if we do the right thing, if we're principled, if we understand that there's some pain, but you know, you keep your eye on the goal, I think we can see America do a dramatic turnaround. But it's not going to do a dramatic turnaround by saying to people, you get more than anyone else, or you don't have to work, or you don't have to play by the rules, or you get to be better off than everyone else. It's not going to work that way.
Stan, you know, there's been a couple of significant things in between the press bowing on their knees to Barack Obama as the Messiah. The first one happened in 2010 when we had that election that was the worst election for Democrats since, I believe, the 1930s, when the Republicans took over the House. And we had a couple of elections between that. And then we've got this significant situation where the audacity of recalling a governor because he ran and then did what he said he was going to do when he ran and was successful with it was a dramatic victory. As Sarah Palin said after the results came in, Barack Obama's goose is cooked. All right, and I think she's right. I think this shows where the country is. The country's had enough, and if liberal Wisconsin isn't going to put up with it, think about the rest of the country. Think about the states that aren't so liberal: Ohio and Pennsylvania, Florida, all the key states that Republicans need. I think this is the beginning of the end, not only for Barack Obama, but for the progressive movement, at least as we know it now.
Well, again, I would agree with you and hope that's the case. Now, there are Jewish people in this country, and I'm Jewish, you're Jewish, many of our viewers are Jewish, so, please take this the way it's meant. If you have 10 Jewish people, you have 462 opinions. That's simply fact, and God bless them. But a Jewish person voting for Barack Obama is inexcusable and inexplicable when it comes to cogency and intellect. It can only be emotion or ignorance. I think it's ignorance. Now, here's a perfect example. Have you ever heard the name Charles Barron? Do you know that name? Charles Barron is a Jew-hating, radical leftist, former Black Panther, who actually was on the flotilla to break the blockade so that Gaza could import weapons and kill more Jews. And he is going to be nominated by the Democrats. Democrats, starting with Barack Obama, followed closely by Michelle and by Eric Holder, is a racist, anti-Semitic, anti-God, pro-perversion group of despots. And if you're Jewish, what in the holy hell are you doing backing that cabal of comrades? Oh, I like the way I said that.
That was very good.
All right.
Good alliteration.
Good alliteration. All right. Can you explain to me why any person, now of course there are two kinds of Jews, those who believe in God and those who think they're God. Well, that group is hard to handle, but for any God-believing traditional Jewish person, and by the way, both Messianic Jews and Orthodox Jews are dramatically Republican. I mean, overwhelmingly. Most Reconstructionist and Reform Jews are dramatically and overwhelmingly liberal. Conservative Jews tend to be some of this, some of that. Can you tell me in your mind, Dave, why a Jewish person would want an anti-Israel, anti-Jewish, anti-family, anti-normalcy party like the Democrats and president like President Obama?
Well, it's an interesting situation because in Israel itself, the Jews there are not fooled. The Jews in Israel, at one point, only 4% of the Jews in Israel believed that Barack Obama was a friend to Israel. And that's waffled between 4 and 12%. Approximately 78% of the Jewish population in the United States voted for Barack Obama in 2008, and that's down to 64%. But how in the heck can you get 64% to vote for a guy who gives money above Congress to Hamas and Hezbollah, who dictates a foreign policy that has brought us now a Muslim caliphate across the northern Africa and working on places like Syria as well, and Jordan and the rest of the Arab states. How can they back a guy who wants to go to the indefensible lines of the '67 war, which is one of the reasons why they had wars in the first place back then, because the Arabs would not tolerate a Jewish presence in the Middle East, much less the state of Israel, which has only been there for 3,250 years. So you've got all these things working against the president, and why Jews still want to be here. It's sort of like they're self-denying. They don't want to believe it. Why did you need a psychiatrist to examine these people. They're like they're self-hating Jews, and I don't understand it. Maybe you need a psychiatrist. Get Dr. Keith on the show some week, and he can explain it maybe. but I can't.
All right. Well, neither can I. Obama's Jewish support drops 22 points in New York in 1 month. He has the support now of 51%, down from 73%. That's just in 1 month. Now, some people say, look, there are 5 to 6 million Jews in the United States. That's more or less 2% of the population. What's the big difference? Well, I can tell you this. 25% of all the money raised in the political field is contributed by Jewish people. This guy Adelson that supported Rick Santorum and is now supporting Romney, he was supporting Newt Gingrich and is now supporting Romney, and the guy who was supporting Rick Santorum, both of whom are Jewish, are writing checks of millions of dollars. Jewish people have had a great deal of success. They've been blessed. They control a lot of money, and their money often has been, in fact, most often has been the difference for the Democrats, as overwhelmingly Jews have supported Democrats. If that tide turns, the Democrats are in for the dark ages. Would you agree, David?
Yes, and this is one of the reasons that Obama has done things like approve gay marriage all of a sudden, because the funds from Jews and Wall Street are drying up. So I think he went after the back the gay marriage just so he could get some temporary fundraising, which he succeeded with. Because now it's becoming a situation where Romney is significantly outraising the president now that he can focus instead of having to fight the other Republicans. He can focus, and other Republicans, Jewish and other, can focus on giving him money instead of giving it to splintering off to Gingrich and to Santorum. So I think Barack has a problem with that, and I think there was another election that happened, I believe, was in 2011 in the largest Jewish district in New York,
Queens.
Where they elected a Catholic, a Roman Catholic, over a Jew, and this is one of the highest populated Jewish percentage-wise districts in the country, and that was a dramatic situation. This Roman Catholic beat a Hasidic Jew, a religious Jew, and that meant a lot of Jews voted for the Roman Catholic over one of their own. That's how that was significant.
Well, if you also think back of the guy Weiner, whatever his first name was, moron Weiner, Anthony, I'm sorry, but anyway, his district had always gone to a Jewish person. He was a Jewish person, and there were 2 Jewish people running, but they voted for the Republican Jewish person as opposed to the Democrat Jewish person, which has never in 50 years, that district had never gone to a Republican, and now that district is represented by a Republican. We are seeing, and the media's not wanting to connect the dots, but the Democrats aren't winning anything. They really aren't winning anything, and the guy in West Virginia that won a special election there won by putting Obamacare up on a tree and taking a rifle and shooting a hole through it.
Manson,
yeah, Joe Manson. Now, let me ask you this, because you're you work with McDonald's, a wonderful company that provides many, many people a start. Once Obamacare is in full bore, I don't know if you've gone to the seminars, it is my understanding that starting in 2014, once the election is over, that if you hire someone, even if they are part-time, if they don't already have health insurance through a spouse or a parent, that you have to give them health insurance. And if you hire them and they have a family and the family doesn't have health insurance, you have to supply health insurance for the family. Is that correct or not?
Something like that is correct. But here's what's going to happen. And this is meant to be the whole time. What's going to happen is you're either going to buy their insurance, or if you decide not to buy their insurance, you're going to pay a fine. The fine is going to be a lot less than buying their insurance. Therefore, the government will provide the insurance, and pretty soon you're going to have single payer, no insurance companies. You're just going to have the government running things. And if everybody thinks that's a good thing, look at England, who is desperate to get rid of it. Look at Canada, whose prime ministers come to this country to get treated. It's a disaster wherever it goes. And it's an amazing way for socialism to occur, as happened in Nazi Germany, as happened to a certain extent in Great Britain. They're trying to get rid of it almost everywhere it's been tried.
Now, let's add something to that. The only way you can do that is to eliminate everybody's health insurance, from the CEO down to the janitor. It can't be just you're saying, all right, the people that work in this store or the people that are less than managers. It's equal but awful. That's what socialism is. So now everyone will have to stand in line. Everyone will have to be told who they can have give them their health care. Everyone will be told whether or not they're young enough to be considered for whatever serious work has to be done. That's not just for the people you're hiring. And I think that's an important point, is it not?
Oh, it's an amazing point. And it's all true. I mean, you're going to have decisions as they're doing right now. I believe these are brain surgeons. This guy was on the Mark Levin show and had just come out of a conference, and he was told that if you're 70 and above, of which you are getting close to, Stan, even though the hair doesn't look that way, it will be determined that for certain procedures, you will not be treated. You will not have the right to have an operation. And that's happening right now. So if you have like a stroke or an aneurysm, you might not, as a doctor, be able to operate on somebody because of a government dictate based on the government running things. You talk about Sarah Palin and her death list. Guess what? Death panels. This is here, and it's here now. Forget about 2014. It's already happening.
And what people don't understand, in England, if you are over the age of 55, forget 70. If you're over the age of 55 and you have a heart attack and you call an ambulance, the ambulance will not come. They don't make runs for people over the age of 55. There's no such thing as transplants. There's no such thing as hip replacements. There's no such thing as valve replacements in your heart. I mean, bottom line is life expectancy in England has gone down because their program doesn't allow you to be saved because they don't have enough money, so they have to cut it off. And let's face it, you spend more money in your last 10 years, in most cases, than you spend in your first 50 or 60. And so that's where they're going to save money, where the money is being spent. Does that ring home?
Oh yeah, I mean that's why we need to get rid of this socialist crowd that's in there right now. And say what you want to about Romney, and he had his own state health care in Massachusetts, which I'm sure he regrets doing now. But you know, he said he's going to repeal Obamacare as either the first or second day in office. And you got to take the guy at his word. We know Obama's not going to repeal it. He's going to go forward with it. Hopefully the Supreme Court will come down with a decision here shortly that will determine that the mandate that you must purchase a product as a citizen of the United States be dictated by the government as unconstitutional. So hopefully that's going to happen this month. And then Obama is going to try to weasel his way around that somehow and keep it in. That the only way to truly get rid of this situation is to get rid of Obama and to get rid of the Democrats, almost all of who supported this. They're running away from it now. Clara McCaskill in this state, you don't hear her talking about health care much now. You certainly heard her talking about it in 2009, 2010, and you heard a lot of Democrats talking about it. You saw a walk of the House members, the Democrats. You know, Nancy Pelosi with her big hammer across, you know, like a civil rights march across the Capitol there, and claiming that the Tea Party people called the blacks that were involved in there, you know, the bad words, the N words, and all this other stuff. Yet nobody was able to prove that, and you had all sorts of people out there with cell phones and with films and things like that. And Andrew Breitbart, God bless his soul, challenged it, and these guys have all backed down because they can't prove it because it didn't happen. So yes, we've got. I mean, it's all coming down to this election, and we've got to get people out there to vote. We've got to get them excited. You got to hold your tea parties. Thank goodness here in mid-Missouri, it looks like we're going to have a tea party before the election, which I will probably MC if they'll have me again. And we have to get the people out excited, and you have to listen to people like Stan Solomon. As unpleasant as it is to look at him, he's a smart guy, and you got to listen to him, and listen to the Limbaughs and the Hannitys and the Weinbaums, gratuitous putting myself in there amongst these great talk show hosts. But you've got to listen. You got to call into these shows. If a liberal tells you a lie, if don't let it pass by. Challenge everything you can. Challenge him. All right. If he tells you, well, we're here because of the last 10 years of horrible economics, that didn't come from the Republicans. That came from the housing crisis, which is a completely Democratic created disaster, because you can't give free homes to people, just like you shouldn't be giving free health insurance to people that the government is going to somehow run because they can't do it.
We're going to take a break. We'll be right back with Dave Weinbaum here on Talk to Solomon. Hey folks, this is Stan Solomon, and I talk to smart people all the time. I've got one of the smartest people around on how to make money from home. His name is Ted Williams, and Ted, well, it's a tough economy out there.
It is, but if you've got the right vehicle and some good advice, you can make it even in this economy.
All right. Well, how can you make money in this economy if you don't have money already?
Well, I tell people right now that in this economy there are really two businesses that I would say work good times, bad times. And the first one costs several $1 million to get involved in, and that's necessity food. You go to the grocery store, people are going to eat. It doesn't matter. We're going to do that. But can you imagine or think for a minute, what is the other business that everybody's involved in?
Well, let me think for just a minute. Everybody has a cell phone. Everybody lives based on a cell phone. In fact, I don't know anyone that doesn't have one, but cell phone business is expensive to get into.
Well, it is if you're buying a brick and mortar store and you want to tie yourself to a conventional business, have inventory, overhead, theft, all the stuff that goes with it, and then you have an opportunity with our business opportunity to for under $300 to be able to operate in 50 states and all the U.S. territories and soon to be international.
Now, wait a minute. Is this one of those deals where you can only talk between 8:15 and 8:22 at night on Tuesdays?
No, this is actually running on one of the nation's largest nationwide networks, and we even have roaming for those people that are traveling between major highways, and we have the top-of-the-line phones. We've got some of the best Android phones, the newest Android phones that have come out on the market, as well as some simple flip phones for people that's all they want to do is talk.
Now, how does the fee for this service compare with the major companies?
Well, right now, if you get all of the service and you use a lot of internet or a lot of data, you can easily spend $150 a month. In fact, some of the companies that are advertising unlimited data are actually giving you unlimited data, but the first gig is high speed, then they slow it down to 56K. You can't even use it. It's unlimited, but you can't use it. With ours, it's truly unlimited talk, text, and web, and the great thing with us, you can develop a business and earn free service for the rest of your life.
Can you earn more than free service? That saves you $100, $150 a month, but that's only the start, right?
Obviously, there's a lot of income opportunity if you want to treat it as a real business. And you know, at under $300 to get started, we have a fast start program for our representatives where they can recoup their investment in their first month if they just are serious. We also have a unique feature knowing what we're talking about, if you had a friend and you're not a representative, but you were earning free cell phone service, wouldn't you tell your friends about it?
Especially if it would help me to keep that free service.
Well, what we have is a program where you can refer a few friends, even if you're not a representative. You could be a customer, and you refer a few friends or family members that get our service. That would earn you free service. So our representatives can get it as well as our customers.
So you're saying with a national competitive company, you have the ability to give unlimited, true unlimited service with the latest and greatest phones or less if that's what you want, and that not only can you have free service, but all your customers can have free service by referring people, and I assume if they're your customers, then you make some override, right?
Absolutely. You can actually have a network of representatives that you're earning overrides on, as well as their customers, and you benefiting financially from that. So it's big money at a low cost and low investment, and all the tax advantages of being self-employed and write your own schedule.
This is not a brand new company that just trying this out. This is a proven, publicly traded, high-quality company?
Yeah, they've been in the telecom industry for over 18 years. And, you know, just having money will not get you in the wholesale cell phone game. There's 3 or 4 companies that dominate, and they won't give up any of their share with someone with no experience. Our company has been involved in data billing, customer service in the telecom industry for years and years, and we were the first in the market at the wholesale level.
Folks, this is an exciting opportunity, maybe for you. We can't tell you what's right or wrong. There's a phone number you can call, 800-299-8362, or you can go to cpnlive.com and click on the icon that says Make Money from Home, and all the information will be there. Ted, thanks so much.